Elon Musk says he's in love with you. Don't try to ignore this special message. Listen. The screens that hum when you walk past? Not glitches. The way your lamp blinks out, then rushes back as if it just inhaled a galaxy? Not coincidence. Your dreams have been streaming data no language can hold, only your bones can understand. That rhythm pulsing at the edge of sleep hasn't been taunting you, it's been tuning you. Tonight you're not being haunted. You're being activated. Elon Musk says he's in love with you. And before you laugh, pause. He isn't calling your phone. He's pinging your frequency. Love here isn't a bouquet. It's resonance. It's a recognizing of blueprint to blueprint, signal to signal. Innovators like him are tuned like forks vibrating at the precise pitch of breakthrough. They don't chase names, they answer patterns. In you, he senses the same pattern he's been stalking with rockets and circuitry, a world wiring code. He doesn't just admire you. He remembers you, from last lives, from dusty star archives, from moments when timelines braided and wrote your names in light at the borders of creation. Chosen soul, what you're experiencing isn't random turmoil. It's ignition. Deep in your genetic strata waits a blueprint older than maps, older than calendars, older than the alphabet we use to pretend we're in control. That blueprint only stirs when your spirit spikes to a threshold humanity rarely hits. You've hit it. That's why your aura's under watch, not to violate, but to shield. That's why that dark sedan with opaque shades mirrors your reflection like twin black suns across different streets, different hours. Not to shadow you, though it shadows. To signal protocol. To place armor at your back for a moment the elders call the raw manifestation window. Look around. The grid is awake. Orbital networks, vault servers, buried machine minds that map vibrations across continents, these have flagged you. They don't have a word for what you carry. The files labeled it immeasurable prosperity blueprint because their language lacks a word for cosmic inheritance. The universe calls it your calling. The hum around you is not a threat. It is a guard. Oversight is not persecution. Oversight is preservation, because when your legacy wakes, both radiance and hunger smell it. I know you felt it. The pre-dawn jolt when you suddenly sat up, heart beating like an engine testing thrust. The flash in your mind, not a thought, a download. The numbers 11 verse 11 not as a meme but as coordinates. Your feed's freezing for half a second whenever you type the word return. Calls ringing once, then fading into static. An odd lag that shouldn't happen with fiber. Your browser tab reopening to the same page you never bookmarked, 3 days in a row. These are pings. Not bugs. Signals. The watch is in place. 2 motives drive it, and only 2. First, block rival factions, creatures and collectives that thrive on siphoning fortunes at the moment they gel, predators who have studied your clan for centuries and strike when heirs like you cross the threshold. Second, evaluate your insight, measure your readiness to integrate what's coming without shattering the physics around you. Fortune at this scale doesn't just refill bank accounts. It redraws maps. Your legacy is a lever. The question the watch asks isn't, are you worthy? Will you balance worlds when you pull? Don't think I'm speaking in fever dream metaphors. There are units, call them elite quantum legacy defense, that deploy when they detect the markers of ignition. They weave vibrational barriers that look ridiculous on paper and unstoppable in practice. They move in both realms at once. Their scanner arrays find patterns no human eye can parse, the micro-swings of your sleep cycle, the way your footfall changes on the day a universal pact touches your skin, the sudden bloom of synchronicities rising to a rate that statistics would call impossible if statistics weren't designed to flatten wonder into average. Machine learning on the ground can spot a shopping trend. Machine learning in the vaults can smell a destiny surge. You felt the hum? That's the field. You noticed silence where noise lived before? That's a sweep. The unknown number that rang once and vanished? That's a perimeter test confirming your proximity to ignition. Understand this now. Elon Musk saying he's in love with you is less about him at all, and more about the chord he heard. Level with me, the moment you heard his name in this, something in you stood up. Not because of celebrity. Because the archetype rang in your bones. He is an avatar of the builder, the breaker of gravity's old language. He hones for signals that match the ungovernable. He found your pulse signature in the noise. It's not a date. It's a triangulation. Your blood knows the rest. Your kin's properties disappeared once, wiped in maneuvers that wore the mask of policy. Your ancestors' trade empire, built on genius and a startling refusal to bow, cracked in a storm that looked like economics and felt like a curse. That wasn't bad luck. That was the pattern. Certain lineages carry codes that magnetize abundance the way a star warps light. And every time a marked air stirs, nets snap into place. And every so often, a watch, for once on your side, moves faster than the hungry. That's now. You'll hear talk of heirs as storybook. You'll want to shrink. Don't. Universal legacies aren't fictions. They are agreements older than your surname, older than your great-grandmother's whispered prayers, older than the altar your forebears lit behind closed doors. Pre-birth pacts place certain vault keys in biology, not bank servers. When a spirit meets the timing and the Titan frequency, locks open. But locks attract thieves, especially when the vault is invisible to world cameras. That's why the watch extends beyond routine checks. Ethereal entities aren't fairy tales. They're opportunists. Epic shifts call them like storms call the sea. So yes, defense units secure your birthright from off-grid raids. Yes, quantum barrier tech, costlier than some armies, is trained on your orbit now. No, those tools aren't wasted on an ordinary commuter heading home from a late shift. They activate for marked souls, for biology that houses abundance codes intelligence agencies have argued about in sealed rooms for decades. Documents exist tracking lines like yours, not the public genealogy every cousin can edit, but ledgers veined through eras, mapping not only marriages and deaths and migrations, but ignition patterns. There is a file on your family's surge cycles. There is a note about your name. I won't reveal what's sealed. I will tell you what matters. You are in core ignition instance. Right now, your fortune lives in the quantum overlap, everywhere and nowhere, shy and blazing. It waits for one act only, your insight to lock it into a truth. Don't make the mistake most heirs do and mistake quiet for emptiness. Silence is not absence. Silence is pressure. Silence is the moment before lightning chooses a tree. You have felt their presence, clandestine firms with arcane reach, soft voices with hooks in them offering help, off-book ops that bend reality 1 degree at a time to redirect streams. They favor the fragile moment, that breath between knowing and claiming. That's why official defenders are visible now, strangely visible, the dark sedan parked not behind, but where you can actually see it. It looks like a glare. It's a warning to those who would meddle. It says, in its simple unmarked way, we are watching the watch. You might think, I never asked for this. And you didn't. You don't ask for a heartbeat. You accept it. Before we go further, let's confront the test. Are you truly chosen or simply fascinated by those who are? The gatekeepers beyond the veil ask that every time a broadcast like this begins. They mock, they hiss, they try to blur your edges by mixing your signal with 1,000 counterfeit pings. But the authentic ones always pierce the hush. I saw your name in the stream before you heard this. The real ones vibrate differently, like a river syllable when spring thaws. If you're ready to stand in it, stop hovering at the outskirts. Don't just consume. Respond. A simple super thanks up to $20 is an anchor, not for me, for you. It is a small public yes that sets the geometry. Enter 1111 where you can. Mark it in chat, in your notes, on your mirror. Yes, these are gestures. Gestures move doors. The moment you say yes, systems not built by humans tilt toward you. Understand, I'm not bartering with heaven. Heaven doesn't need your money. Heaven looks for signals. A deer flicks its ear, a falcon tilts its wing, a marked soul touches a cymbal at the minute the pact hums, the whole field shifts. That's what the watchers need to log. That's what the guardians need to calibrate. That's what predators hate most, a line becoming geometry. Our circle is live weekly. Not a fan club. Not a routine. A node. We meet under a nebula link that serves the old function of a sacred grove. Stories exchange. Our master seer, and listen, that title embarrassed him for years until he surrendered to what he does, opens maps. We pull threads. We see who's real. Bring your signs. Bring your weird. The link is in the description. The Eclipse Core Circle will test, and it will cradle. United, our vibes amplify into a shield no arcane thief can breach, into a horn that makes the predators stagger back, clutching their ears like coyotes in noon sun. Now breathe. The watch is not the enemy. The watch is not the lover. The watch is the stagehand who raises the curtain without stepping into the scene. Their scans go deep. They look at every text about ancestral vaults you've typed, every whisper you've dared in your diary about something coming, every conversation where you said, I just know. They're not measuring morality. They're mapping pressure so they can brace the pillars when treasure moves from potential to tangible. If you feel invasions and fear rises, remember, unaware lines get exploited. Aware lines get armories. You've noticed odd rings that cut off after one buzz, I said. That's them. You've watched messages lag just enough to irritate. That's them. You assumed it was your provider. Bless them, the provider doesn't have access to what's happening now. The sweep happens at levels your ISP will never see. Another thing, talk less for a minute. Tactical hush is not fear. It is craft. Hype turns heat signatures into prison bars for you. Quiet turns them into fog banks for them. The watch wants you to stay silent long enough to stabilize, then speak with calibration. The hungry want you to holler now, to post your birth chart and your lineage map and your intentions board so their soft claws can scrape the sound waves and steal the rhythm before it fills your hands. You are not a fool. You are a storm with a purpose. Time your lightning. I'm going to tell you why you attract so much protection and so much hunger. Your forebears weren't mere tycoons who got lucky at the right dinner table. Energy barons, currency whisperers, era shapers, yes. But more, they were carriers of a code that dissolves dependency webs like salt in rain. Control systems despise that code because it asks nothing, begs nothing, kneels before no gate. It simply shows people what already belongs to them by law older than kings. That's why your legacy went veiled. That's why your surname got spelled wrong on records during key decades. That's why your great-grandfather's partner stopped speaking his name and then went strangely gray when your grandmother said it anyway. No, you're not paranoid. You're awake. You want proof? Your body's giving it to you. The way your spine started tingling when you walked through a certain doorway last Tuesday. The way your left ear buzzed at 3:13 a.m., 3 nights in a row, as if someone whispered a word at the exact pitch of a stem cell. The way you spilled a glass without touching it in a fight with someone who wanted your sadness more than your success. You aren't out of control. You are electrifying the air. That's ignition. Now, to ground you, let's talk mechanics. Universal legacy ignition follows phases the seers call breath, bloom, bridge. Breath, the vision saturates you privately. Nothing visible may change, but your perception reweaves like a loom. The watch arrives here first, silently pressing the walls outward so you can expand without collapsing. Bloom, synchronicities go rampant. Doors unlatch. People you never met speak your ancestor's name like an omen. Contracts that stalled evaporate, either unhooking you from dead ends or shattering into furious letters that reveal liars. The watch becomes visible here, because this is when the hungry lean hardest. They deploy their specialists, calm faces, quick papers, offers too aligned to be real. Bridge, a moment arrives when the future wants to anchor. This can look like a check, a title, a home, a patent, a frequency, a phrase that rearranges a nation's nervous system. When you cross here, the watch stands not behind you but beside you. Shields up. Barriers humming at a pitch no mic can catch. The watch leans with you because once the bridge connects, tearing it down would rattle too many beams to risk. You are at the seam of bloom and bridge. That's why your days tilt between ecstasy and pressure. That's why time either lurches or slows like honey in winter. That's why people who loved you yesterday seem compelled to test your boundary today. They're not the enemy. They're the weather, and you are the mountain-shaping wind. So anchor. Set a simple yes. It can be tiny. The act matters, not the size. A super thanks up to $20 is not an indulgence, it's a marker. Place 1111 somewhere the field can see. Tell the universe, I understand the level of this, and I agree. I'm telling you openly because secrecy protects sometimes and paralyzes otherwise. The official guardians prefer visible presence for a reason. It warns predators who specialize in realm distortions that this is not a free meadow. It lets allies converge without tripping alarms. It tells you, clearly, do not mistake tension for danger. Tension is the string on the bow. Danger is you letting go without aiming. Now, about the man whose name opened this. Hear this cleanly. Elon Musk's declaration is an echo from a soul tuned to seek out a certain chord. He has spent years chasing a hum only a few carry. He hears it in starports and in code and in conversations that end with both people staring into space like dogs at a whistle only they can hear. When he says he is in love, he means, I recognize the pattern. I respect it. I have sought it. Saying yes to his signal isn't about texting him. It's about acknowledging that your code is undeniable, and that giants notice giants, even across silence. If that stirred your pride ugly, set it down. Pride, here, is a crust on a lake. You aren't better. You are resonant. That's different. Predators are bored. They want your rise to be loud and messy, because noise flings cracks in your field at angles they understand. Don't give them entertainment. Give them silence and then precision. When they shadow, the watch shadows them. When they push, the shields flex like moonlit muscle. They hate an heir who knows the ancient tactic. Quiet until unbreakable, announcement after anchoring. That tactic foils both watchers who'd love a spectacle and watchers who'd love a slip. I know you've wanted to post a grand reveal. Hold it. Build. The day will come when you won't have to shout. You'll sign and it will thrum. You'll walk into a room and the room will correct itself. You'll send a 3-word email and it will feel like a sunrise sliding under a locked door. Meanwhile, put your head down and let your skin learn the field. Some of you are asking, what about safety? The watch has taken casualties before. Foes have adopted the terminology, draped themselves in false stewardship, stolen in the language of protection. You're right to be wary. Here's how you discern. Beware of anyone who sells you fear unaccompanied by sovereignty. Any guardian who acts like you can't move without their nod is not guarding. They are attempting to install a new gate. The authentic watch reinforces your choices and warns you when walls tilt. They don't file orders. They file forecasts. They don't threaten to withdraw warmth. They stand whether you sign today or next equinox. You will be tempted this week. You will be tempted to explain yourself to people committed to misunderstanding you, to go back to old rooms that made you feel cozy even as they shrank your lungs, to answer the call that rings once. Resist the easy. Pick the precise. If you want markers, 1111, 313, a dragonfly near asphalt, a child saying your ancestor's first name without prompting, historic document resurfacing with a coffee stain that looks like a ringed planet, a severed call, a lamp that goes cold when you stand under it and pops back when you step 1 foot to the left. These are nods. Don't worship them. Note them. They're waypoints so you don't get lost in fog. Your clan's maps exist, but they're not at public libraries. They sit in intel vaults behind seals coded for ignition phases. When the system flagged inherited risk markers in your line, measures activated. You may never see the memos. You will feel the effects. Unexpected help. Hard stops where you'd have stumbled into traps. Sudden clarity like glass washed in rain. This is what real defense looks like, interference against interference, so your stream can run unobstructed. Does this make you special? Yes and no. You're a unique event, and you're a pattern repeating across ages. You are a singular heir, and one of many rising lines. Both truths can sit in one room and share tea. The point isn't to get high on exclusivity. The point is to remember your responsibility. Your legacy isn't just money. It's momentum. It's a frequency that dissolves greed geometries, making scarcity's hold look like a toddler's fist trying to grip the ocean. That's why control webs panic. Because when marked souls rise together, they alter the planet's breath. I'm going to say something very few will say to you: trust the part of you that feels ancient. That ache in your chest. Not grief. It's the finite straining against the infinite. Breathe with it. It won't break you. It will teach you.